This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
What's up, everybody? Ricky Widmer here, along with the Mark Weber.
Dub them ease.
And welcome back to the Onside Kick right here on Most Valuable Podcast, your one-stop shop for every news, stories, anything going on in the NFL. We talk about it here on the Onside Kick. And Mark, before I get into housekeeping, before we talk about the topics, I gotta be real with our viewers out there, with our listeners out there. This week, it's already Wednesday, but this week for Most Valuable Podcast on the editing side has been horrible. I've been stressed out. I'm surprised I haven't lost my hair with how stressed I've been. You guys have probably noticed that, hey, only one video went up on Monday. Then it's like Tuesday, only another? And the podcasts aren't up. We're having some problems. Just wanted to let you guys know that we're looking to fix it. So I'm hoping this video goes up in time and that you're seeing it, and that there's also not lip sync issues, because that was another thing going on that I've had to deal with. But I just wanted to let you guys in the bubble so that you know what's going on here and that we're trying to fix it. Let's get on to what we're talking about, though. First off, Le'Veon Bell. Then we're going to talk about the Colts hiring their new head coach. Then we're going to look at draft, focusing in on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But before we do that, a little housekeeping. Number one, you want to support us, check out patreon.com/Most Valuable Podcast. That link down below in the description. Number two, you want an MVP t-shirt. That store link is also down in the description. Three, if you're on iTunes, you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, make sure to give the Onside Kick a 5-star rating. It would mean the world to both Mark and myself. And last but not least, go ahead and bookmark Most Valuable Podcast. That's where you're going to get everything from MVP on the daily. But let's jump into our first topic, Mark, and what we're looking at is the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the reason why is I feel like we were kind of talking about this last year with the whole franchise situation, or franchise tag situation with Le'Veon Bell. As I'm looking at an article here where it basically says Le'Veon Bell's Steelers shutdown part 2, because last offseason was part 1. Here's where we stand right now. So both the Steelers and Le'Veon Bell are expressing an optimism for a long-term deal. However, negotiations are still in their early stage. However, ESPN is reporting that they could take flight at the NFL Combine next week. So, Mark, I am going to ask you, will Le'Veon Bell get a long-term extension from the Steelers, or is he just going to get tagged for 2018?
I have to imagine that they're going to get a long-term deal done, because he also already has said that he has zero interest in the tag. He's not going to sign it. Now, I'm pretty sure he said that last year, too.
Yeah.
But he basically has come out and said zero interest in doing this, long-term deal or bust. He wants to get paid. He wants the stability, and he should. He's a running back, and he's 26 years old. Once he hits 28, most running backs don't hit that long. You know, you get to that age and you're pretty much kind of out of it. The average NFL career is, 3 years? He, as a running back, is in one of those dangerous positions where they have a very short shelf life. So he's got to milk it for what it's worth, essentially, is what it comes down to. I don't blame him at all. The Steelers would be so dumb to not just get that long-term deal done instead of trying to just play this game where you're building up animosity and having the guy want to leave, having the guy say, no, thank you. If you give me that franchise tag, I'll just sit and wait. You guys are in worse shape without me than you are. Well, I guess he's got all the leverage in that case, because you guys are going to be in worse shape without me. So I definitely think they have to get a deal done. I don't expect him to play under a tag.
Well, and the one thing I looked to is I had to look back to be certain, but he did hold out a little bit of last year. He missed all of training camp, did not come back to the team, didn't end his holdout until September 1st. So I expect the same thing. If he gets franchise tagged by the Steelers, I expect another holdout from Le'Veon Bell, because when you look at the Bell side of things, he deserves a long-term deal. How he's been as the running back of the Pittsburgh Steelers, he has also been, like, when you're a part of a nickname, the Killer Bees, you deserve a long-term contract with that team, especially if you're producing well. And I think the one thing that, I mean, if I'm Le'Veon Bell, I look at is why. Here's the question I have. Why are you guys so, is it because I'm a running back that you guys are so wishy-washy on giving me a long-term deal, but Antonio Brown has his contract come up and boom, deal gets done right away?
Yeah.
Like, if I'm Le'Veon Bell, I'm sitting there going, what's the deal there?
I really
What's the
think it
deal?
does have to do with the fact that he's a running back. And like I said, he's 26. He's had 5 seasons. This will be season number 6 now. And
But really, 30 is the age you look at for the kind of fall off at running backs. Like
I think
late
it's a little
20s, early
earlier than
30s.
running back. I put it at about 28 for a running back for that kind of time where teams get scared.
Which, I mean, if we're looking at Antonio Brown for long term, he got a 4-year deal. So that would, let's say Bell gets the same thing that Brown did with 4 years.
Puts him right at 30. I just really think that part of the thing, I mean, I don't know if they have concerns over injuries from the past or anything like that, but I think they're just scared of having a running back, paying him, and then having him drop off. I don't know if they look into the future, too, and see that, well, Big Ben is old. He might retire at some point. Are we going to want to have expensive running back and expensive wide receiver, but with nobody to really help either one of them out? Which doesn't make too much sense because a good running back is going to help out a young, inexperienced quarterback if you have to go draft one, or just a journeyman quarterback who's not that amazing. Sure, I think that would be an okay situation to be in. I wouldn't be that scared of it. I just wonder if the Steelers are sitting there thinking we might have to reset a little bit soon, so maybe we don't want to invest that money. Because honestly, there's really not that good of a reason to say, here's another franchise tag, to Le'Veon Bell. It's the same thing that we thought with the Washington Redskins. Didn't Cousins prove himself time and time again? Le'Veon Bell constantly proves himself. I mean, if he's healthy, he's going to get at least 1,200 yards.
Well, and really the thing I think of is let's say the Steelers tag Bell and they don't get him to a long-term deal this year. I see that from a Steelers side. I've basically just shot myself in the foot.
Yep.
The reason being is whether you say like myself where it was, by 30, or like you, hey, now it's a little bit before 30 where we see the fall off with running backs. If you franchise tag him again, then you work on a deal next year. All right, now he's a year older. He's 27?
Yep.
Is a year older. Then it's like, okay, if I give him a 4-year deal, that means I'm only maybe going to get half of that before I start worrying about a fall off. Maybe I get 1 before I start worrying about a fall off. And then if you franchise tag him a 3rd time, it's like, great, now he's 28. Do I really want to give him a 4-year deal right now? Or have I drafted a replacement for him because I knew what was coming? So I think the Steelers are between a rock and a hard place with this because there are numerous teams around the league that would go ahead and try to pick up Le'Veon Bell if he hit the open market.
Oh, definitely.
However, the Steelers, like I said, are rocking a hard place because it's like, do we franchise tag him? Then he's a year older, but the years of that long-term deal don't go down. It's not like, because I'm a year older, I'll be looking for 3 years now instead of 4 years. Or do they say, you know what, we're just going to give him a 4-year right now, keep him in Pittsburgh, but then it's like, okay, I hope that he does not fall off before he turns the age of 30.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just interesting to me as you look at things too, and you look at some of the other people who are out there. You look at, for example, Freeman in Atlanta, and you have a guy who he's a year younger right now, but man is locked up till 2023, getting about $8.5 million a year. You look at LaShawn McCoy, who's older. He's 29. He's locked up until 2020. So that's a little bit of time. Obviously, they're investing in having him above that 30 mark, and he's getting $8 million a year average. Chris Ivory is the next guy up getting the most, and there's about a $2 million gap there. I don't feel like Le'Veon Bell, who's only a year older than Devonta Freeman, who's younger than LaShawn McCoy, the second highest paid running back, I don't think that about $8 million or $8.5 million a year is going to be that big of a team killer for you, you can make it work. You can do that. That is a worthwhile deal because all it really takes is one appearance to the conference championship and maybe you got a shot at a Super Bowl. And when you have a running back like Le'Veon Bell and you're in the conference championship, whether you're against the Patriots or whoever it might be, if it's
you got to be able to outcoach the Patriots because really every time the Steelers and the Patriots have met in the playoffs, they get
but that's
outcoached.
a different story.
Yeah.
Whether it's the Jacksonville Jaguars with an improved quarterback potentially from Blake Bortles, whatever the situation might be that the other team you go up against, you're going to be better off with Le'Veon Bell being there than no running game. You know, you have Big Ben, sure, but he's coming to a tail end of his career. You have a great wide receiver, but the balance is what really does it. Let's look at some of the best teams from the playoffs this past year. The Jacksonville Jaguars. Leonard Fournette certainly was helping out a not good Blake Bortles throughout the whole year. I would say that
the Chiefs.
Well, of course, the Chiefs. I would say that the Vikings with not Dalvin Cook because he got hurt.
Dalvin Cook goes down. You've got Murray and McKinnon picked up the low dual back style.
The Eagles, who are the Super Bowl champions with their backup quarterback, had 3 running backs that were helping them out.
Clement, Blunt, and J.J.
Yep. So they were so many different teams that had
the Saints
success with their running backs.
Saints
2 different
had Ingram and Kamara. So, I can go on and on.
I'm just saying that you look at the teams that are successful, and this is where the Steelers want to be.
Yeah.
And the Steelers were not far away from going potentially to a Super Bowl 2 years ago. So you're going to risk losing Le'Veon Bell over what? $8.5 million a year? I mean, you compare that to, we were joking about it with the quarterback situation. What's the quarterback franchise tag? It's like $30 million plus.
Yeah. Well, and that's
not exactly. It's in the higher 20s, but
when
still.
You brought up Kirk Cousins, position plays into this.
Yeah.
If Le'Veon Bell's a quarterback, this is like, holy shit, we need a deal done. Because not only can quarterbacks play into their 40, or into their 30s. I mean, look at the ones that we've seen. Tom Brady and Brett Favre have been the oldest two to kind of play into even the 40 range of it. But one guy I'm looking at, and I want to ask you about this, if this kind of comparison fits. I think of when we think of running backs, and we think of getting towards that age of, I'll say, 28, where it's like, okay, it's the cliff there. Maybe it's because we're here in Chicago. Maybe it's because this is the last, the most recent one that pops into my head. Matt Forte.
Yeah.
Matt Forte was a guy, except for 2 seasons, which he only missed it by 3 yards and 71 yards, was an 1,000-yard rusher, except for those 2 seasons in 2011 and 2009. Then his last year with the Bears, that would have been the 28. He was 28 in 2015. Boom, down to 898. Then he goes to the Jets, and it's been 813. 381. And I know that you can say, well, the Jets aren't a good team, but that's one where you look at, oh, wow, you hit that and boom, you fell. No longer a 1,000-yard rusher. You look at Le'Veon Bell, kind of a similar trend going on with one big difference. The big difference I'll get to, he's had 1,000-yard seasons in every year except for his rookie year, which he only played 13 games, and then 2015, but the 2015 I'm putting an asterisk next to because his season did end after 6 games with a knee injury.
Yeah.
So he had to have surgery on that knee. That's why look at that, in 6 games, he was already halfway to 1,000 yards. I think he would have got 1,000 yards in that year. He's a guy you plug in and you go, I'm going to get at least 4.5, at least 4 yards per carry, and I'm going to get 1,000 yards out of him.
I mean, yeah, it's to me, it's pretty simple. Your team is better with him than without him, and the team needs him because this isn't the same Pittsburgh Steelers that we've seen in the past. This team needs Le'Veon Bell, and it's a weird thing in the NFL, which moves in trends. That people moved away from running backs. People didn't care about running backs.
Well, now they're saying it's a quarterback league,
and it is. It is a quarterback league. You need great quarterbacks. You need really tall wide receivers.
Yep.
But we're kind of moving back a little bit. You see the resurgence of the defenses. That's what this year has been dominated by, defense. There's that part of it. You're getting some of the importance of the running backs coming back as well. Not that it ever completely went away, but it did go away for a little bit. And it was really focused on spreading teams out, mostly because, teams like the Packers and the Patriots did it, and it's successful for them because they have amazing quarterbacks. Not everybody has that level of quarterback.
Yeah.
There's a reason why there are different kinds of offenses out there, right? So really what it comes down to is Steelers are not built to be a Patriots team. They're not built to be the Green Bay Packers. They need a run game. And I can even make the argument, too, that when Aaron Rodgers does not have a run game, that team doesn't win a Super Bowl. Because the run game is real. The resurgence of a run game is what led Green Bay to that Super Bowl victory.
Well, and the reason why I would say the Steelers need a good run game is when you're a team, to me, this is what I think. If you're a team that has a phenomenal defense, a great defense, and you're that defensive mindset, you need that run game to say, hey, we're going to solidify this run game so that we can have longer drives that don't end in 3 and outs, keep our defense off the field for a little bit so they can regain their composure. Because how many times in passing offenses, it's like pass, 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 oh crap, we're punting. I hope you took that gas mask or you had the drink of water or Gatorade that you needed because defense, you're going right back out there after a quick 3 and out. Last thing I want to ask you before we move on is, do you think that another thing that kind of shifts the momentum of this and the advantage into Le'Veon is that the guy that they drafted in, 2017's draft of James Conner, that because he hasn't come out and been like the next big thing, that it's like, crap, he knows that we don't have the next big thing behind him, so we can't call that bluff of like, well, you know what? We can trade you for something because, we've got this kid behind you. I mean, Connors is good. Connors was good in college, but Connor is not the next Le'Veon Bell as of only 1 year in the league.
And, you have a lot of these rookies who come in and hit the ground at the running back position and are very successful in the NFL so far. We see those every now and then. I think that does give him some leverage. I think that Le'Veon Bell has a ton of leverage. I think he knows that this team is not going to be that successful without him. They can get to a playoff, sure, because Big Ben is a great quarterback. They have a very strong defense that doesn't let teams score that many points. You have good running back options. There are a lot of good things on this team, but this is the kind of team that when they're going to play the best teams in the NFL, they're not going to get past them if they don't have that run game as well.
Does he
gotta stay balanced?
Does he hold out, and how long does he hold out if he does? Well, if he's tagged. Does he hold out, and how long?
My understanding was that Le'Veon Bell does not have much interest in playing under the tag this year. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to believe his word and say he will not play under the franchise tag this year.
You don't think he'll play at all? Like, if
I
he's
think the
tagged,
Steelers.
he'll say,
I think the Steelers will budge. I think the Steelers, that game of chicken, Le'Veon Bell, I think is going to win it, even if it goes into the season.
I'm putting you into a situation here, though. If, let's say, Steelers tag him, you're not getting a deal throughout the whole year. How long does he sit out? Is it the whole season? Is it past that September 1st that we saw last year? Does he have, basically, I'm going to say, have the balls to miss regular season games if they tag him?
Well, I think he showed himself that sitting out until September 1st didn't do much for you because you're in the same exact situation you were last year. He has to be able to be willing to sit into the regular season. And I'm going to believe in him based on what he has said so far, that he does actually intend on sitting if he gets franchise tagged again. He's not going to play unless it's under a long-term deal. I'm going to believe him on that.
And let's be completely honest. Last year, the thing that kind of also hurt him a little bit is even if he wanted to miss that first regular season game, was against Cleveland. I know Cleveland almost won that game. Browns fans, don't get mad at me, but it's like, really? Would the Browns have really said, oh, you're really showing us sitting out against Cleveland? Oh, man, woo! Good thing we didn't have Le'Veon. We have Le'Veon Bell for this one playing Cleveland. I get it. Cleveland almost won that game. Probably should have if they didn't have that drop. But any final thoughts you've got on the Le'Veon Bell Steelers situation.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify. It's not even necessarily that he's saying that he's going to sit. He has threatened to retire.
Ooh.
He's gone that far.
Basically, the Carson Palmer, like, it's not a franchise tag, but Carson Palmer was like, trade me or I retire.
Yeah.
When he was with the Bungles.
And then he did. And then he unretired.
And then he went to the Raiders.
Exactly. And how did that work out? Arizona Cardinals.
Well, I mean, same thing's going on with, I mean, this is away from Le'Veon a little bit, but same thing's going on with Megatron. I guess teams have called up the Lions and said, hey, what do you want for Megatron's rates?
Sure.
So that we can get Calvin Johnson and maybe bring him out of retirement.
Yeah. I mean, Marshawn Lynch retired. Retired.
Then he got traded.
Yeah.
Maybe Megatron gets traded to the Raiders. They're kind of the common denominator in all of this so far.
And yet none of them work out when they get to the Raiders.
No, it's kind of like when Randy Moss went to the Raiders too.
Funny how that works.
Went to the Raiders, then went to the Patriots and almost went undefeated with the Patriots. But this is where you guys come in. Let us know what you guys think down below. What's going to happen? Franchise tag. And here's the questions. If he's franchise tag, hold out and how long? And then do you think he'll franchise tag or get a long-term extension? Let us know what you guys think in that comment section.